right, this Walk the Talk session is leading through crisis. We're going to talk about how to lead through a very difficult time. Typically, these are prolonged times, but of course, crisis can be in little segments, or they can be for a year. It depends on the circumstances. Now, whether you are a tenured leader, a brand new leader, or you're gaining skills and have been a leader for a little bit, one thing is certain. Leading is always easier when things are working and times are good. Of course, during the good times, attitudes are up, energy is up, jobs are running smoothly and routinely, and there's occasional hurdles we have to overcome, but they just aren't every day, and they aren't prolonged. So what happens when you throw a wrench in all of that, and our environment, and all of a sudden there's chaos and crisis? Now what? Well, Andy Grove was one of the most powerful American business leaders in the global tech industry, and he offered this particular insight. Bad companies are destroyed by crisis. Good companies can survive them, but great companies are improved by them. So as we move through our discussion today, my goal is to help you not just survive a crisis, but become better because of it. So let's dive in. In this particular year, this particular session was recorded in 2021. Think about that year. The pandemic was at its height, and it impacted our business and our operations. Even more recently, let's consider Snowmageddon, that's what I call it, that occurred and probably impacted you personally and or professionally. During the pandemic, business as we know it changed, and our families personally may have been impacted with loss of jobs, loss of income, potentially even loss of life. Horrible things for anyone to have to face, and it was for a very, very long time. During the recent snowstorm, parts of our city were shut down for days, and many were without power, heat, or water for days on end. Yet, in city government, we still had a job to do, and we still had people to serve, and our public works crews still had to be on the streets. Our fire department still had to be responding to accidents. All of this continued. Our police officers, payroll had to be done. We had to get paychecks out to you. Many braved these horrific conditions to get our work done every day and serve our community or one another. Peter B. Stark, a leadership expert, executive coach, and speaker, quotes, "In a moment of crisis, reactions set the leaders apart from the followers." So let's look back. How did you react as a leader during that specific crisis, during the pandemic, during Snowvid? Were you a leader or a follower? I will tell you, you've got to choose your attitude as a leader, guys, especially during the rough times. If you choose well, great things are going to happen. Your team will follow you. Attitude definitely reflects leadership. So to drive this point home, let's watch a movie clip from a very popular movie, Remember the Titans, and then we'll talk about it.
Who do they think they are, the Beatles? All right, quick docking. Warm up. Tyler.
Coach.
Shut him up. Hard. Hey! Omaha, punch Omaha! Yeah! Omaha! Hey!
Song's over, Sambo.
What happened, Plastic?
I audibled. Rev, I swear to God, I audibled.
I didn't hear it.
All right, fellas, coming through.
Swear to God.
Let's take a look at that, son. Now, he broke a bone in the wrist, and he won't be throwing any more this season.
You got 1 minute, Coach.
Take the other time out, Coach.
Ronnie Bass!
Coach, Rev's going back in, right?
Not a quarterback, son.
I can make that pitch, Coach.
Yes, you can. When I was 15 years old, I lost my mother and my father in the same month, Ronnie. Same month. 12 brothers and sisters. I was the youngest one, but they were all looking up to me. Now, I wasn't ready yet either, but they needed me. Your team needs you tonight. You're the colonel. You're going to command your troops tonight. You understand? Twins right, 48-0 read. Let's go.
Let's go. What's the matter? Haven't you seen a football injury before, you wimps? Let's go. Show some life in those legs. I got it. It's going to be all right. Butts, you release this time. Louis, let him through, all right?
What?
Just let him through. Trust me.
You had 12 brothers and sisters?
8.
Yeah, 12 sounds better.
That's a penalty!
And the quarterback, you kidding me, Coach?
You see that man? That's a bad white boy, man.
He's got ourselves a football coach.
Game ball. Ronnie Bass.
Hey, this ball right here goes to the real king right here. Thanks for teaching me the veer, Ref. Oh, God.
Okay, obviously and clearly, this is a movie and it's scripted for impact. However, it's a perfect example of two different levels of leadership and the impact that they had to their team. Let's talk about these separately. As you discuss this in your group, respond to each one of these questions and really give them thought, because that's what will impact you the most. How did Coach Boone respond to the crisis of having a key player injured in a critical game where the entire team was clearly watching? Now, after you've talked about that, think about the player's initial reaction when he was called by Coach Boone to sub in. Think about how he reacted to that situation. Next, what impact did Coach Boone have on, as we call him, Sunshine, to change his perspective from the time he was called into perform to the time he hit the huddle? There was a big difference and a shift there. Lastly, how did the team respond? They responded to Coach Boone and they responded to Sunshine. So talk about that for just a moment. Well, hopefully you've had some good dialogue in your groups about that, and it makes you think about yourself. How will you react and how did you react? We talked about that. But Coach Boone was experienced. He gave confidence and instilled courage into his player that then helped him step up in leadership in a tough moment. The coach's words and actions resulted in the player rising up. That player made an audible and made a play and made it work for the team. Finally, the team responded and followed their leader with courage and the empowerment and renewed energy. The leader, he basically said, Sunshine leans in and says, you got to trust me, let the guy by. And they did. They looked at him and they did that and it worked. In your career, guys, you are going to face challenges and crisis. It doesn't matter if they're big, it doesn't matter if they're small, they're going to happen and they're going to hit you. As you encounter those, remember the impact you can have on yourself, your team, and the department simply by your reaction to crisis and how you lead your team through it. In the words of Andy Grove, will you be destroyed by it? Will you just survive it, or will you become better because of it? Until next time, lead well, make an impact, and walk the talk.